So, I mean, we can put those up in a minute. Okay. Hey, everybody. I'm Joseph Banta. I'm one of the organizers of the Nashville Mobile Development User Group. We meet monthly, usually the last Tuesday of the month. This month, obviously, we're at a different... I'm Joseph Banta. Oh, dear. I'm one of the organizers of the Nashville Mobile Development User Group. We meet monthly, usually the last Tuesday of the month.
Totally didn't have the YouTube.
You're better than the original.
That guy was awesome. Anyway, so yeah, we meet the last Tuesday of the month usually. This is our first month down in Franklin, but we're looking at doing this more often because there's a user base that's not being reached, and I think you guys can spread the word and let us know how you feel about it being down here because usually we meet up Nashville proper. But anyway, let me show slides. Want to thank our sponsors, Matova, that's our host here for the venue and the food. Google gives us occasional swag and prizes, and Pluralsight gives us free monthly subscriptions, especially if you're out of a job and you need one. I could probably help you out with a 1-month membership. Otherwise, we might just give away a 1-month membership at the end of this meetup if everybody reminds me that I've got that. Looking back, last couple of months, we've had a couple of bigger events. In April, we did a Swift Development Code Lab. That was pretty fun. We covered basically getting an app running from the ground up on iOS using Swift. In May, we did Google I/O Extended, which was probably 100-ish people down at Emma in downtown Nashville. June, we had basically a science project-y kind of night and show off your app. And July, just a couple of weeks ago down at Emma, we teamed up with Nash.js and had progressive web apps. And if anybody doesn't know what progressive web apps are, I'm going to show a couple of slides that I showed that night. Basically, it's a web app that allows you to show an icon on your home screen. It enables push notifications. You can have a full screen experience, so you don't see the browser bar with the title and everything like that. That way the user has no way to know to navigate out. It looks like a native app. It loads quickly because it's got data instantly cached and some functionality even off network. And this is my favorite slide from the presentation I gave, so I had to. This is why I'm actually showing it. Off network, what? And the answer is, the question is how. Of course you want to know how. The answer is service workers. And when I showed that slide at Nash.js and said, okay, how many people are working with service workers right now? I got one. Okay. Well, at that meetup, Nash.js, Nash JavaScript, the web developers meetup, with like 100 people that come to every time, nobody raised their hand. I was actually kind of astounded. But I think we need to spread the word because it's a technology that at least gives me the feeling that it's going to be everywhere in 6 months. And I could be wrong about that, but it seems like something that everybody should have if they want a certain feature set. So anyway, looking forward for August. We haven't picked a set topic for August. It's probably going to be the last Tuesday of the month. And it might just be here. We haven't settled that yet, but it might also be at Google Fiber's office in downtown Nashville. We've been considering a more advanced Android study jam because we did a basic one at the beginning of the year. We could obviously do another iOS development lab because people really love that one when we did that one in April. We're talking about doing a Dev Fest. The talks haven't made it very far, but a Dev Fest is essentially like a bigger event that we would get sponsorship for. We already have commitment for sponsorship from a couple of companies, and it would include probably a hackathon, a few tech talks, and some code labs. We're trying to work through that and get that organized. It may happen, it may not. It'll be sometime between September and November, probably closer to November. Usually our last meetup of the year is a cage match. 2014 we did iOS versus Android. 2015 we did web apps versus mobile versus native apps versus hybrid, and we actually included Xamarin in hybrid, which the Xamarin guy wasn't very happy about because he said no, those are native apps. Okay, sure. So we might just have to have a hurt feelings cage match for why Xamarin is or is not a native app. I don't know. But so if you have any ideas for any of the possibility hangouts that we might do, I mean meetups we might do next month or the coming months, let us know because we're looking for ideas. Also, if you didn't know, in the coming months, in August 18th and 20th, there's a conference called Music City Code, and it's at the Lipscomb Swang Business Center. It's going to be a 2-day event, a lot of tech talks, speakers. I think they're looking at having code labs and a hackathon associated with it. I didn't put it on the slide, but there's also, well, does anybody else know the events that are coming up in Nashville? I know there's Nodevember. That's in November, obviously. Yeah.
There's a Maker Fair on September 17th.
The Nashville Mini Maker Fair. Yeah, I got that one up here, but and that's on September 17th at the Discovery Science Center, and we're looking at potentially participating in that. But I can't. There's another one. I don't know. Okay. So Daniel has a calendar up, so if there's anything else you can think of, then let me know. Well, I'll just go ahead and skip forward a little bit. Yeah.
I have a question.
Sure.
With the progressive web apps, when you're saying that they can be deployed to where they basically act like a native app, but it's a hybrid web app.
Yes.
Right? Are you saying a web app, or are you saying deploying them as a mobile strategy, and they can still have push notifications?
Yes, it is strictly a web app.
So it's not a mobile app?
No, it's written in JavaScript and HTML, and it uses the JavaScript to cache the data locally. And it's the service worker technology allows you to intercept the requests as they come forward for web content, and if you've got it cached, it'll project the cached content instead of going to the web, or it'll project the cached content and then go to the web, and if it can't get it, it just will fail.
So if I wanted to use that in a mobile application, I'd still need to be looking at a wrapper to be able to have push notifications.
No, it's a well, okay. Say it again. If you wanted to.
So if I wanted to take that PWA and put it into a mobile application where I push on the device, I still need a wrapper.
No. A progressive web app is purely web content. If you want to install it as an app, like in the app drawer, yes, you would have to wrap it in Cordova. But one of the things that certain browsers are allowing you to do, like Chrome, if you go to a site that has progressive content and has a manifest, and it declares itself in a manifest locally inside the file, and it has a service worker that it's using, it will actually allow the user to install the home screen. It's not the app store, but it's the desktop of the home screen. It's the home screen of the mobile device, the desktop of the mobile device.
Wow.
So yeah.
So in theory, on an iOS device, I could have a PWA that would still allow push notification capability.
It can allow push notification. It can be on the home screen. It can load without network.
Can it access like the mice drivers, like the camera?
Well, in the same way that any web app can access the camera, okay. You get permission, the camera, the GPS. All these things are things that you can do. They're just not easy.
Sure. Because they're abstract.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's all functionality that's there.
I wasn't aware that PWA could literally get around push notifications. For a long time, that's been the only reason you use Cordova.
Yeah, it's. I think it's one of the reasons why people are going to be given that a second opinion now. I mean, and I've been wrong a billion times. It may go away tomorrow, but I don't think so, because people like Chrome, Google, Mozilla, Microsoft are behind it. They're going to these conferences and presenting it and pushing it. It seems like it's going to happen.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool.
So sorry to kidnap the dry principles, but yeah, we're an ongoing user group. We're all volunteers. So if you want to help, if you have a venue you want to, want this meetup to happen at, or if you have a topic you want to present, or if you know of somebody that you think should present, let us know. Me, Sean, Ed, Chris, anybody can take that to the next level. Job seekers. First off, I was told that Matova is hiring now. Do you want to mention what it is you're actually looking for?
Yeah, sure.
Do you know?
Yeah. So first of all, hello, I'm Sean Beach. I'm one of the co-organizers, and I also work here at Matova. We are currently looking for Android and Java web developers, preferably with approximately 2 years of experience, or really just like you've been in the industry, you're not straight out of college. So just looking around the room, looks like most of you guys would fit that bill. But that's what we're in the market for. We're always taking resumes, though. Our needs change week by week. I actually referred a friend, and we were like, well, we don't have anything for you. And literally the next day, they called him back and was like, oh, we found something. So it can change just that quick. So if you like what you see, this is our office. These are the desks that we work at.
And there's more upstairs.
There's more upstairs. This is the work environment we have. If you like what you see, come talk to me. I'd love to connect with you. So that's all. Thanks for coming.
So is there anybody else that's got a job to fill? Like some where they're looking for people? Data people right here. So, oh, I thought you said you were looking to date people. Yeah, okay. So, sorry about that.
The worst. Be the same, but be different.
So,
Mercury is.
oh yeah, Mercury, looking for Android?
Yep.
Just Android?
Yes.
Not services people? Not iOS people? iOS people? Okay. So if you need a job and you have Android skills, check out mercury.io. If anybody else knows of any other coming events, was there something else I didn't mention? Any announcements anybody wants to make? Okay, let's get to it. This is Sarah Klinefelter. If you're going to be talking about the DRY principle. Can you switch that to?
Yeah.
Yep. Should be good. I think. Probably not. Nope.
Is that mine?
Yes. All right. Yay.
And y'all remind me about the raffle at the end of the night because I will forget.
Hi everybody, I'm Sarah Klinefelter. I work at Matova, obviously. And I also wanted to mention there's a C++ position that we're looking to hire as well. And front-end web was also on the list that we're actively recruiting for. We have business cards, so feel free to stop me or Sean after the presentation, and we'll get you hooked up and we can chat. So what I wanted to do is talk today a little bit about the DRY principle. I've been in some situations where I've stumbled across code where it's duplicated, it's all over the place, and it's just not a good situation to pick up a code base and have to go around and fix all of that. So I wanted to talk about how to know when you should abstract, how to keep your code clean, and how to architect your code so one change can be majorly impactful instead of having to run around and make a similar change to a lot of different areas in the code. It's just more efficient, more cost-effective, more bang for your time in your code. So first, what is the DRY principle? The whole concept is you don't repeat yourself. It's aimed at reducing repetition, and it's especially useful in multi-tier architectures. So there's a lot that goes into DRY, so I'm probably going to glance over some probably high-level topics briefly. The opposite of DRY is going to be wet. That is waste everyone's time. We enjoy typing, write everything twice. that is exactly what you don't want to do when you're developing code. So I just thought I'd share some funny things there. So here's the gigantic list that when I'm developing and when I'm architecting the system, what I think about. That's a bummer. Let me see if I can't fix that really quick.
Yeah, you have to keep it focused. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, it's not updating again. It could just be lagging. It's like whenever I go into full screen preview.
Oh. Okay.
So.
Yeah.
I know what it is. 1 second. Apologize.
In the meantime, Sean will dance a little bit. Thank you, Sean.
I forgot about the share entire screen. Okay, so now that you can actually see my presentation. So there's abstraction, there's the rule of 3, there's KISS, separation of concern and single responsibility, single source of truth, and you aren't going to need it. So let's dive into the rule of 3. So the rule of 3, if I ever find myself writing code 2, 3, 4, 5 times, normally I stop myself about the 3rd time that I'm writing it and go, I feel like I've written this before. And at that point, that would be the time where I would probably come up with a util class or probably come up with some abstraction to where that isolated bit of code can be more impactful because I'm not duplicating it or repeating that in several different places. It's very common to have util classes in Android, pretty much in every language. And a little bit later on, I'm going to talk a little bit about how to keep those organized. Because it's really easy to just have one gigantic superclass that becomes this junk drawer of methods and functions, and that's, again, something that you don't want to do. But the goal of abstraction in the rule of 3 is it should be reusable, easily maintainable, and that's basically the high-level goal. So there's the KISS, keep it simple, stupid. And basically what that's trying to get you to think about is not cramming too much into one function or method. If you're writing these gigantic super methods that are like hundreds of lines or 50 lines long, and you can't rationalize what its true purpose is because it does several different things, that's probably not the best architecture, and that's the time to stop and think before you even get to that point. You know, how do I write just a very concise, very small method that does what I need it to effectively? Another thing that I really enjoy talking about, clean design tends to lean towards clean code. If you have a really solid foundation in architecture and design, it tends to make your code just, when it's developed, it just makes sense, and you kind of see the whole picture, and it's really easy to keep things separated and nice and clean. So there's also this concept of code smell. So if you ever pick up a project or if you ever start looking at code, there's like little indications that there's something wrong. There's something like deeper within the code that's an issue. Normally you notice it because, you know, something went kind of funky one time and then it didn't the next. And so like sporadic issues can be a code smell. Questioning why something was written a certain way can or can't be a code smell depending on the situation. But normally there's some indication that there's a deeper problem. And what really helps is if you have separation of concern, and single responsibility. For instance, if I have a class, then I would want it to manage one thing. So like if I had a manager class or a util class, let's say I was working with a database, then that class would most likely do all of the database operations. And outside of that, I really wouldn't want much of anything else to directly deal with the database. It should always be going through the manager class to do that, because that's its responsibility, that's its purpose. Along with this, there comes the concept of layers. So you have your data layer, your integration layer, your UI layer. There's several different layers that can come about. For instance, you have like your lower level REST requests, you have your database. Those are all data layers. And then you have your UI layer where you're displaying that to the user. But let's take it one step further. Let's say that you have OEMs, or you have other users who are going to use it, or let's say you're integrating with a piece of hardware, or let's say that there's other factors. Well then, to be nice to OEMs or other people integrating, you can have an integration layer that decouples things from their side. It makes it easier for them to use. So basically the whole concept is just keeping it in distinct sections, making sure it makes sense, making sure it's well organized. And then the next bit is about single source of truth or single point of truth. So for instance, let's say there's this user object, and let's say it has a set of fields and data. Well, that's great, that's awesome. We would want that information, but what we wouldn't want to do would be to have that duplicated to some like other user class or some other class. We would want the user object to know about all of the data for itself, and then that data to not be duplicated into other models. You can get really powerful with inheritance. And a lot of this comes with relational schemas. Instead of duplicating, data from one model to another model. This can be pretty dense, depending on what you need to accomplish. But it's just basically about keeping not just the code clean, but the data that you're interacting with in a single area, so you know that whatever object you're interacting with, that has the sole data that you need to know. So you aren't going to need it again. This is one of my favorite things that I love to do. If I pick up a code base and I see a lot of commented out code or dead code, then it's time for some major cleanup. I will go and delete anything that I don't see used. And it just cuts down our package bloat. If you're really into testing, code coverage, there's plenty of tools out there that will give you analytics, and there's static code analysis tools. So there's a lot of things where they will tell you like, oh, this code isn't used, like why is it even here? And then at that point I go, oh yeah, you're right, I used this once but I'm never going to use it again, delete. And it shouldn't be scary, because if you're using source control, you can always get that back. A lot of our concepts revolve around recover fast. So like even if something happens, because it's development, something is inevitably going to happen. The whole idea would be you're using the proper tools, the proper source control to recover within a timely manner. So this is also super helpful for Android developers, probably even iOS developers, just because if your package gets to a certain size, then all of the iTunes Store, the Google Play Store will not like it as much. And we have the lovely dex method in Android. So just removing those methods is going to be awesome. So if you have any questions or if you want to dive deeper, please let me know. Again, I'm Sarah Klinefelter, and thanks for listening to me talk about Drive principles.
Okay. Good quick presentation. We still got some pizza back there. Did everybody that wants to be on the raffle already RSVP on Meetup? Anybody not? Okay, then it's gonna happen. Yes, I am. I think I've got everybody's name on there. Unfortunately, I've got Sean Beach Ombudsman. You can take him off. And we are in the running for a Google Cardboard. So, anybody want to do the spin, or do I need to do the spin? You want to do that? Ready? Here goes. Yeah, I got a sensor up here that I'm on. Yeah. There's actually sound, but wait, where's it? Rick Murdoch. Okay, so I'll give you this one. And I also have a Project Tango t-shirt. Woo. And this is from the hackathon we had a couple months ago. We just had a few spares. Joshy.
I have 3 of your shirts.
Yeah. Well.
You can have your own hackathon and get
Let's see. I don't know what else I can give you.
If you want to have someone else, that's fine with that.
All right. I think I actually gave you one of these last month, didn't I? 2 weeks ago. A plural site membership. We'll do that. We'll call this prize a plural site membership. We'll do that in a minute, okay? Remind me. And looks like it's going to be Daniel Aquino. No, it's Patches. And that's it. Grab some more pizza. Oh yeah. If you have time, check out. We wanted to thank our sponsors again, but if you have time, Google gives us sponsorship, and if you give them feedback, you're entered in a raffle that can include something like tablets, Chromebooks, the Android Wear. Go to this URL, goo.gold G30YUP, and it'll give you a chance to give the feedback and maybe enter in that raffle. Also, if we've ever influenced your development in an app that you developed, then if you can see this bottom URL, this helps us to get metrics with our sponsors and helps us to figure out how many people have been using the stuff that we talked about. So other than that, we're done. Have a good night and safe driving.
If anyone has any questions, feel free to discussion.
Also, feel free to take home pizza.